What's the most expensive roof job you've ever completed?
Most expensive roof job I've ever completed was just shy of $400,000.
Damn.
Yep.
Was that a house or
Like a
like?
commercial job. It was a church off of US 1. We did a full metal roof on it. Turned out sweet.
Good morning. Welcome back to another episode of Get After It, guys. I'm here today with Mr. Will Hester. He owns an amazing roofing company here in St. Augustine, Florida. He's a United States Marine Corps veteran, and I'm super excited to jump into his story and learn a little bit about the roofing industry. So without further ado, man, welcome to the show. How you doing?
I'm good, Johnny. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Just before we get into all the business stuff, can you give the listeners a little bit about your background and why you wanted to join the Marine Corps first?
Yeah, sure. So a little bit about me. Raised in St. Augustine, Florida. Wasn't born here, but we moved here in '97 when I was like 3 years old. My dad grew up as a painting Where I grew up as my dad being a painting contractor, always in construction. I got out of high school, didn't really have a plan. I kind of slacked off in high school my senior year. I passed. I was really intelligent. I just didn't show up. Spent about a year just working, tearing off roofs for beer money so I could go to dunes on flip night, and decided I kind of wanted to get out of town. So it's funny, I was actually watching the PBS documentary, The Marines, and I was like, dude, those guys seem super cool. Like, those are a bunch of badasses. That's what I want to do. So I put in a little form online. Next day, recruiter calls me. I went in and signed the papers, signed me up for MEPS, came home, told my mom, hey, I'm joining the Marine Corps. She cried and tried to convince me otherwise. And I think the biggest thing for joining the Marine Corps was just, I knew I wanted to leave town. The military seemed like a great option. And I felt like the Marine Corps was the hardest branch to join, and I wanted a challenge. So I wanted to be different. I liked the way they carried themselves. They got the best uniforms. So I thought to myself, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to go Marines.
Yeah, very similar to me. Yeah. What years were you? 20?
I went to boot camp December 7th, 2013, and then I got out December 7th, 2018.
Yeah, that's literally almost this. I was August of 2013 to August of 2018.
You go to San Diego?
Yeah.
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 Nice.
Yeah.
West Coast.
Yeah, you were a Paris Island.
Yeah.
Yeah, very similar. Yeah, when I was finishing high school, I didn't know which college I wanted to go to,
Yeah.
and I definitely didn't want to pay for it. So, and I wanted to, potentially travel and see what see what the world had to offer, and the Marine Corps was a great option for that. Yeah, and initially I was thinking like Army because I didn't know.
Yeah.
And then my buddy Daniel, who I went to boot camp with, he was like, bro, you're a pussy. You can't fucking join the Army. You got to join the Marines.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, shit. So yeah, I texted the recruiter, and yeah, very, very similar. Yeah. With that, can you tell us a little bit about your, what lessons did you learn from the Marine Corps that helped you on a successful business today?
Yeah. That's an interesting question. It's, I feel like my experience in the Marine Corps is unique compared to a lot of Marines. So, I was a combat correspondent or a mass communicator, which basically is military for journalists.
Mm-hmm.
So I was trained in print, photo, and video journalism. My first duty station, I was in Okinawa, Japan, and I got there. I was motivated. I was on my shit. I was in shape. I was accountable, and immediately they just started to send me off. And so they would send me off to go hang out with an infantry regiment, an artillery battalion, and I'd be by myself. No NCOs, no officers. My job was to capture content, form the stories, write articles, send it back to the head shed, and they'd publish it for me, give me the green light or no green light. So that taught me a lot of accountability there and a lot of self-discipline, because in most military, you're in a small unit where you've got leadership. You've got a shop NCO, staff NCO, which civilian terms, that's like, your immediate supervisor and your head supervisor.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't have that. I was on my own. It was my job to get where I needed to be to capture the story. So that taught me a lot of discipline and just figuring out how to take a mission and then thinking for myself on figuring out how to get it done. I had to come up with the stories. I had to meet the people to convey the Marine Corps story to the public.
Mm-hmm.
From there, my second duty station was actually at the Marine recruiting station in San Diego, which was responsible for all recruiting offices from the Mexico border all the way up to South Riverside. And so I had a marketing budget. I lived off base. I worked in an office. I wore dress uniform every day. So I was a 3-year sergeant, E5. living off base in an apartment, responsible to get myself to work every day, no formal PT anymore. And when I checked in, kind of similar to being in the fleet where I was a journalist, my bosses were the XO and the CO, and they were both infantry officers. Mm-hmm. And the first day I checked in, they said, hey, dude, I don't know anything about marketing. They're like, I don't know anything about advertising. So as long as regiment says that you're doing your job, then like, we're going to leave you the hell alone. And I was like, that's good to me because I'm already good at that. I learned how to do by myself in Japan.
Yeah.
So tying that into business, when I was in San Diego, I had this $65,000 marketing budget, and it was my job to find events throughout the year to get recruiters in front of kids. So it was like, Monster Jams, San Diego Padres events, Lil Uzi Vert concerts, Jason Aldean concerts, huge surf competitions in Oceanside. And I would conduct the partnership, and we would pay for that. Mm-hmm. And that was part of my job. We had other partnerships with big entities. It was dealing with billboards, trying to sell free billboards to radio stations, which is an impossible task. And it's funny. I have a small story. I was at this mixer function at this radio station, and the first time I ever tried to sell radio, I was basically like, hey, I've got some free radio. You guys want to play it? And they were like, what the fuck, dude? Like, there's no advantage for us for that. Like, and I was like, oh, I'm in a whole different world. Like, this isn't just ask and you shall receive. So I learned a lot about planning. I learned a lot about self-discipline and being accountable for myself. And then throughout the Marine Corps, it's just, it's hard, right? Like you work a lot, and, some units you might have an easy during the week, but then you go to the field for 18 days and it's 18 days nonstop, and it's up at 5 or 4 to sleep at 10 or even later if you're doing night missions. And as a journalist, I was tagging along for all that. And then once I finished what they were doing, then I had to go to work. And I used to make jokes, and it's like deployments were 60-day Mondays, because I'd go do whatever the guys did, hang out, but then I got to go back and edit content. And, as you know, like content takes a while. So it's not like I just shit it out, it's done. Like, yeah, they're cleaning guns, but I'm on the computer at 3 a.m. trying to figure out how to get this stuff back in Japan. My Wi-Fi pump goes out. So dealing with adversity. So fast forward, I went to college at UNF after I got out of the Marine Corps. I was studying business, and I would go to these classes, and I'm like, business planning, that's BAMSIS. Like, I've already learned this. So the Marine Corps just taught me the standard of the Marine Corps and everything they do really is applicable to everything in real life. And it starts with boot camp, the discipline, the idea of critical thinkers at the lower level. So like, that's something that I felt like the Marine Corps separated themselves from the other branches, that like in the Army, you're just a private, like shut up and do what you're told. In the Marine Corps, they're like, oh, you're a Lance Corporal. Like if you have a problem, what is it? You better have 2 solutions. And so they're always getting you to start those critical thinking wheels. So, long story short, for business, to sum it up, I would say discipline, accountability, critical thinking, and then, just the tenacity to push through. It's like, no matter how hard it was, just keep going, and you get a task. And especially at the marketing station, they'd be like, hey, we need you to do, part of my job was making sure that all the recruiters sent me their high school lists of kids so that they could get mailers to get them to join the Marine Corps. Mm-hmm. Well, these recruiters don't really care about that. And so I'm a sergeant talking to staff sergeants and gunnies saying, I need all these lists. And I would have, by the end of the year, I would have a list of over 400,000 names that I had to scrub and sort through Excel. And it's like, that seemed like a daunting, impossible task, but like, it's a task. Mm-hmm. So I got it done. Mm-hmm. So just kind of, the sky was the limit. And if you thought your capacity was here, it really was probably here.
For sure. Yeah. That's great. What's one mistake you see new roofing companies make that cost them years of growth?
It's a good question. Something I see new roofing companies, but also old roofing companies, a big mistake I see is lack of quality, and it's the quality control. Mm-hmm. So most companies, you have them come out, they give you an estimate. If you agree to do the job, let's say you schedule in a week from now, there's a high chance that whoever shows up isn't going to be the guy that you talk to. Mm-hmm. And you're probably not going to see that guy until it's time to pick up a check, mm-hmm. for him to pick up a check or maybe do a final inspection. And I think that can be done well, but you lose touch when that happens. You lose touch with the customer. You lose trust. You lose rapport. And if the person estimating the job, unless the process of handing that off to production is perfect and super thorough, you're going to miss stuff. And then that's when you get I have a smudge here, or this was supposed to be done and it didn't. They didn't take my satellite dish down. They didn't do X, Y, and Z. It's the small stuff. And I think that's a huge mistake that new roofing companies make, but I think it's a mistake that existing roofing companies make because it can be such a lucrative market that people have been sprinting the last 5 years to get into roofing. But I feel like all they see is dollar signs, and they don't see that they're actually providing a serious service, a product that, for one, is it's very important. It protects people's homes, and I think those details get missed because of maybe the money.
For sure, yeah, like trying to, like if you're the owner and you're running around giving estimates, 10K, 20K, 50K, and then you're just like, oh shit, I got 10 more this week. You're just running around and with like a chicken with your head cut off.
Always, yeah, and that's whether you have the quality control down or not. Like it's hard.
Yeah. So how can you, is it better to crawl before you run then and just like make sure your systems are all dialed, or is that like something that's just impossible to avoid in the roofing industry, or how can roofers make sure that the quality's there?
I think the biggest thing is systems. And so that's actually been a struggle for me because my parents started the company in 2009. And when I got out of the military in 2008, before I got out, I had a conversation with my dad, and he said, "Hey, what's your plan? Are you staying in? You're going to re-enlist?" And I was about 6 months from leaving the Marine Corps, and I was kind of making my final decisions on whether I was staying or going. And at that point, for me, the promotion opportunity didn't outweigh the opportunity to come out and learn the roofing business. And my dad said, "Hey, if you want to come learn this thing, I'll teach it to you. And if that's something you want to do for the rest of your life, you can have the business." So when I got out and came out of the business, they already had their own SOPs, their own systems, but they weren't very good. But the problem for me was I was trying to jump into something I didn't know on the managing side, and without total control or a lot of control, because I was less than the new guy operations wise. Like I didn't know anything about estimates or material orders, or like I knew how to tear a roof off and install some metal, but that was about it. And I hadn't done that in 6-7 years. So the systems part has been a struggle for me since 2018, because I was trying to adapt on the fly. And my advice to a new company would be, get your systems in place as soon as possible, because it's going to make your journey so much easier going forward. Because we've been growing year over year since 2018, and we've grown like 5 to 6 times in size, gross volume. And I've been trying to add the systems as we go. And that's extremely hard because the demand on me has increased. My parents are no longer part of the company, so my workload increases while I'm trying to change the system. So keeping up with production while also changing the way you do things, it's like crawling up a hill. It's like crawling uphill.
Like we didn't even have a CRM until like year 2 or 3, and we were still doing like over $1 million in revenue. So
wow,
it's crazy. It's like, and then you get one, like you get a CRM, and it's like, fuck, how have I been doing business without one? So and then we hired an office manager a couple years ago. That's great. Like just the amount of time it takes to send invoices and making sure the invoices get paid, and just like all the tasks that the business owner doesn't need to be doing. Like they need to be focused on like making sure the client's happy, and maintaining your accounts, and getting potential new business, stuff like that, building relationships. So that's good advice. What are the typical margins like on a roofing job? Like maybe give an example of like a 4-bed, 2-bed house, and then maybe like a commercial job.
Yeah. It's a fluctuating number, and they say that a healthy roofing company, even in most construction, is around 30 to 40% gross profit. And that's, when I say gross profit in the construction world, that's, my materials, my labor, my permit, my dumpster, do I need a bathroom on site, my supervisor, everything that it takes right then to get that job done, whatever's left is my gross profit. And that's before general liability insurance, workers' comp insurance, marketing, CRM, office manager, that's all aside. So to run a healthy company, you really need to be between like 30 and 40%.
Got it. So if you do like $100,000 roof job, you can make anywhere from 30 to 40 grand if you get it right.
Yeah.
Okay. That's before like taxes and everything.
Correct. Yeah.
All right. Cool. What's as you've grown, what's like the ideal job for you? Like, are you taking on everything, or are you just going after like you have a niche that you do, or?
We did a lot of shingle metal starting out, and then did a lot of roof coating as well. My dad actually started the company because he got invited to coat roofs in South Florida under Florida Power and Lighting program, where they were coating roofs white to lower electricity bills. Mm-hmm. So my dad got invited by a general contractor, and he went and started coating roofs. And it was during 2009 and end of 2008 when the economy crashed. So his phone as a painting contractor stopped ringing. So it was a perfect opportunity for him to go down, make some money, float the bills, pay the taxes from the year before. And then after about 45 days, after about 90 days, he got a call and said, hey, you've got 45 days to get a roofing license or you're out of the program. My dad's like, dude, I can't get a license in Florida in 45 days. It's like the hardest construction license they get in Florida. Mm-hmm. So my mom started studying for a license. And then my dad, my parents both chased a hailstorm in Mississippi, came on as salespeople, kind of learned the operations, learned how roofing companies work while she was studying for the license. Come back to St. Augustine. Then my dad went to chase a storm in Dothan, Alabama, where you can actually buy a roofing license. So you can go to the county and say, I want to be a roofer, like $300 and you're a roofer. He's like, done deal. So he gets a big warehouse, parks his camper in there, builds an office, stays there for about 9 months while I was a senior in high school. And then my mom opened up the company. So our origin was coating, and then it was shingle and metal. And then as I've come along, we've expanded our capabilities. And now my focus is more into, I'd really like to focus more on concrete and clay tile. There's just not a big market up here for roofers that do it. Mm-hmm. It's not like South Florida where everything's concrete and clay tile. Up here, you've got some sporadic neighborhoods like Marsh Creek, Plantation, and places like that. But if you call 10 roofers right now, you're going to get a couple that say, we don't even do it. Mm-hmm. And then you're going to get a couple that say, yeah, we'll do it. But if you're pretty intelligent, you could kind of figure out quickly that they're a little hesitant and maybe they don't know what they're doing. They're not as experienced. So I want to tap into that market and kind of live there. My goal is long-term is within 5 years, if I could do 2 to 3, decently large homes per month, I wouldn't have to do any other roofs, for the rest of the year. I could make an extremely comfortable living wage, pay my guys well, and have a healthy company doing 36 roofs a year, which is fantastic because there have been times we do five roofs a week on the shingle side.
Yeah. Is the roof the clay tile? Is that like that Spanish looking roof like from Southern California?
Yeah, that's
San
exactly.
Diego.
Yeah. And so the most common these days is actually made out of concrete. It's cheaper to be out of concrete.
It looks like
clay though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But the clay, you can still get it clay, but usually it's imported from Colombia or Spain, which obviously going to cost more. The biggest difference is,
and it's more fragile, right?
It's actually stronger, but concrete's super porous. So concrete absorbs something, and don't quote me, it's something around like 30 to 37% of the moisture. So it holds weight, and then it also will mildew, and that's where you see the staining on the roofs. Yeah. With clay, it only absorbs I think around 10 to 15%. So it wicks a lot more and prolongs the cosmetic appeal of the tile. So,
yeah, because with all the wetness here, your roof could get gross.
Exactly.
How have hurricanes and storm seasons changed the roofing business in Florida over the last few years?
Extremely. 2018, in North Florida, insurance work with roofing was off the chain. I mean, insurance claims were super easy to file. They were paying out everything, and it was a door knocker's wet dream. Mm-hmm. There's guys out here knocking doors, and they'd get 10 roofs on one road, file a claim. Insurance pays really good. These roofing companies were making a killing. That leads into kind of the direction of there was dishonest roofers, maybe causing more damage to get roofs replaced. Then insurance companies started kind of knuckling down and being like, hey, are we paying out the right claims? Are these actual damage roofs, or are we, showing our ass and losing a bunch of money for no reason? Mm-hmm. So that kind of started a turning point which led to where we're at 25, where insurance claims are really strict. It's hard to get stuff approved. There's certain carriers that are extremely hard to work with because they want to do anything they can to deny a claim, to protect our pockets in a way. But in the same turn, it's partly because we've had roofers going out filing claims that didn't need to be claimed because they were making the shit ton of money. Mm-hmm. So nowadays with the industry, it's also interesting because something that's becoming extremely popular with the insurance companies is they're starting like preferred partners. So I've lost 3 jobs this year where homeowner calls me for an estimate. I check out the roof and I say, hey, John, you've got like 37 loose shingles from a storm. You got 2 that are missing. It's totally up to you. But if you want to file an insurance claim, I think you probably get approved because you would probably qualify. Homeowner says, well, how does that work from here? And I would say, hey, all I'd like to do is if you would agree to let me be your roofing contractor, should the roof get approved, I'll happily help you through the process. I'll walk the roof, I'll mark it up, show you the damage. I'll meet your adjuster out here. I'll show him the damage, make sure he's documenting the same thing that I'm seeing, and I'll go to bat for you. So I do all that, and then it comes time where they send the verdict letter, and it's, hey, verdict, your roof's been approved. Here's your first check. However, you can only call one of these 3 companies, and I'm not on the list. And his company's 60, 70 miles away, and these homeowners are like, well, I don't want to hire a guy from Neptune Beach. Like, I live in South St. Augustine. Like, if I have an issue, they're 70 miles away. What are the odds he's really going to be here same day or next day when my roof's leaking? And a couple homeowners really tried to fight for me, and the end result was, doesn't matter, it is not preferred.
Why do they partner? Why do they go? Because why do the insurance companies have like the preferred vendor? Do they just have the cheapest price or something?
I would imagine part of it has to go with pricing. So there's probably some sort of deal where it's like, hey, we'll work on a certain price per square foot instead of, Exactimate, which is a program that says what it's worth. It could be just that it's easier than arguing with 1,000 different companies. They know that they can just talk to one headshot office person that deals with all the claims, and maybe it just expedites the process for them. I'm not sure. It seems a little bit like antitrust to me. I'm like, how can
seems like the roofers are paying the insurance company.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. And it's, for me, I look at it, I'm like, well, if I'm a homeowner, I don't want to just have a random company come do work on my house, especially a roof. Like, you want to pick someone you trust that you can build a relationship with. And to me, it doesn't feel good if I was as a homeowner, if I file a claim and some strange guy shows up and says, hey, I'm doing your roof tomorrow, and I'm like, I don't even know you, dude. Like,
it would make more sense. I mean, I get it. Like, you can't have a million roofers quoting. Like, it's just too much. But like, at least you could at least have the opportunity to bring one outside vendor if they were to like match the price or something. Like, that would at least be fair.
Well, it's hard too, because I've tried to reach out to some of these offices, insurance offices, and say, hey, what do I need to do to get qualified? What do I need to do to become preferred? And because we have a good reputation here, we have a bunch of Google 5-star reviews. We've got over 100 reviews. Most of my work's referral. We've got a good name. And I'm like, I feel like I would be a perfect candidate for someone in a small market to be a preferred contractor.
You're like St. John's.
They don't answer the phone. They don't answer the emails. They don't respond to anything. And I'm like, what do I got to do? Like, dangle money in front of you is what it seems like, which I'm not going to do that. But it's like, what am I missing? Because I've tried the email, call, tried a ton of approaches, and it's like dead silent.
Just keep trying. Yeah, keep trying. It's all about timing for sure. They gotta, one of the vendors will piss them off. They'll show up drunk one day and they'll be like, It Valet's the same. It's the same. Like, we try and go after venues or hotels or whatever, and no, we're not interested. And then you get them on the phone one day and it's like, hey, we might be interested. When can you meet? Because something happened, they gouged the client or something, and it's all about timing. So,
yeah, that's just.
I would encourage you to don't give up.
Yeah,
because eventually you'll get something. What should Florida homeowners specifically be doing before storm season that they usually don't?
I would say have your roof inspected before storm season. And I say that because...
Like every year? Or
I would say just before major storms. Like, hey,
like if a bad, really bad...
Yeah, a bad storm. I mean, you could look at it a couple ways. I would say if we got a category 4 or 5 off the coast and we're 7 to 90s out, see if a roofer has time to do an inspection. I think it'd be good to know the condition of your roof before something happens. Because what I've also seen often is a storm will hit and then homeowner says, hey, I think I got some damage. Can you check it out? Or, hey, I have a leak. Can you check it out? And I go look at it and I say, well, when did you notice it? And they go, oh, I can't really remember. But if the homeowner files a claim, that can be an issue because they don't have a solid date. But even if not, it just kind of muddies the waters as far as the expectation of like, well, when did this start? People say, I don't really know. So I would say have your roof inspected before any major storm. And honestly, have your roof inspected probably once every 3 to 5 years. And I say that because most homeowners aren't on their roof anyways. And even if they were, they're not roofers. Mm-hmm. And most people don't know they have a problem with their roof until they start seeing issues inside. And at that point, it's you're looking at a more costly repair as far as drywall, paint, furniture, electrical work, if it's a leak. So just kind of being proactive rather than reactive. Um, Something else you could do too is just build a relationship with the roofer, even if it's just friendly. That way, if something happens, maybe you've got a better odds to get your roof tarped immediately. Because what we'll see is, there's a hurricane, someone's got a leaking roof. Well, if we get hit bad, there's going to be thousands of people or hundreds of people calling. And before any work can get done, we've got to cover it up first to prevent more water entry. And so if you've got a decent relationship with the roofer, you probably get a chance to have someone come out faster to cover your roof up.
How many tarps do you guys have?
We keep at least like 5 to 10 on hand, but I've got a pretty good relationship with my supplier. And once storm season sets in, they'll usually order a couple pallets worth.
Is it smart to just tarp your roof regardless? Like if you know a Cat 4 or 5 is coming and you don't, like, let's say your roof is healthy, like do you need to?
I would say no.
No?
I would say no. And a lot of it depends on the way you tarp it. If you're going to use sandbags, it might not be a terrible idea, but then you're worried about a tarp flying around in your neighbor's house or a sandbag falling off and landing on something that you don't want broken. And I don't know how much gain you're really going to get because we get, so many inches of rainfall in Florida every year anyways. Our biggest risk is going to be wind. And if your roof fails, in 60, 70 mile an hour winds, your roof's either not doing what it's supposed to be doing anyways, and that tarp's probably not going to save you.
Makes sense. Cool.
Hurricane prep, I'd say just have your roof inspected and maybe have someone lined up just in case you're going to have an issue. But other than that, those 3 to 5, one inspection every 3 to 5 years is going to kind of give you a good idea of where your roof stands and whether or not you may need to repair prior to avoid any future issues.
Yeah, our dad passed away, so we inherited his house in California. I'm pretty sure he's got it's like the Spanish looking. I don't think he's ever had the roof replaced, and it's been in the family for almost 20 years. So we should probably get that inspected.
Probably.
Yeah, just to get it checked out. All right. Let's see here. What are some daily non-negotiables that keep you focused and growing a successful business? Could be like personal stuff that you just do, or regardless, could be like business stuff.
I really just, I don't know if it's considered, the way I operate is funny. I don't really have these, I don't want to say I'm disorganized because I do have systems, but I'm not formally organized. So sometimes I don't go through these mental checklists. I just have habits that I already do.
What are those habits?
And some of those habits would be like checking in with future customers, like people who have already signed contracts, but we may be a couple weeks out. And it's like just going through the mental list of like, hey, like, do you have any questions? Like, are you ready? Hey, just a reminder, the delivery date's going to be this day. Checking up on current projects, hey, how's everything going? Or, we have an app called Company Cam where if I'm not on the job site, my foreman can upload photos as the project's going so I can see what's going on. I'll set a little gallery up and like send it to the homeowner and say, hey, this is where we're at. We've only replaced this much wood or all the wood's good. Just kind of, increasing touch points with the customers, I think is beneficial. And that's something I try to do. I feel like as a whole in the industry, contractors are terrible communicators. And I feel like I've learned that from one failure, as I've grown is, there's been times I've had customers upset with me because they felt like I didn't communicate enough. So that was a learning point. And then also too, as a customer, I've hired people to work on my house. And some of my biggest complaints are, they say they're going to start this day. They don't show up on time, or they don't tell me they're going to be late, or they come one day and I assume it's going to be, oh, well, if you're here at 7:30 today, you're going to be here at 7:30 tomorrow. Don't hear from them for 3 days. No update on the project. And as a customer, that's very frustrating. So communication, for my habits, I'd say communication, checking in with homeowners, and then always, I've got a foreman that runs most of my job sites. Me and him split production role, and excuse me, being appreciative to him is huge. Every day, I tell him good morning, and I check in with him, and hey, dude, is there anything you need? How's it going today? Shoot him a joke. Just to keep morale high, because it's August and it's 135 degrees up there, and granted, he's not swinging a hammer all day, but like still sucks. And I think in a lot of industries, and I think in my experience, military and especially construction, there's not a lot of appreciation. It's very cutthroat. Sometimes it's dry. It lacks empathy and emotion. And I kind of want to stir that pot and be different. And it's like, hey, dude, just want to let you know I appreciate you. Like, and it sounds stupid. And some rough guy that's been roofing for 25 years, like you think it doesn't matter, but it does, and I can tell. So checking in with homeowners, checking in with employees, telling people that you give a shit. I think it's some some minor details that I think make a huge difference
Yeah, that's good.
day in and day out.
For sure. Yeah. How do you handle customers who want just the cheapest option?
Tell them to call somebody else. No, I'm just kidding. Sometimes, but actually something that I've been doing. I was talking to someone the other day, and I felt like for the last 6 years, I've really just been like refining the product, refining the process. And something I realized honestly in the last 6 months was I would have an in call for a lead. Hey, I need a roof replacement. I was only focused on the roof. So I'm like, how big's your home? Is it 2 stories? Would you call the roof steep? What kind of roof do you want? And how did you hear about us? And after that, that's kind of where my questions ended. And I thought that I was doing a good job by preparing myself for the quote. But what I started to it took me a long time to realize was I'd send a quote, I wouldn't hear back, I'd follow up, and then I would get to, oh, well, someone was cheaper. And in my head, I'm like, yeah, dude, but we're offering, a real foreman on site. We're going to pressure wash your driveway when we're done. We use our own dumpsters. I've got an in-house crew. I've got the same guys on all my jobs. I'm like, man, how am I losing these jobs? And it's because I wasn't asking what the customer needed. Mm-hmm. And then so now part of my in-call process is, if you call me and say, hey, Johnny, do you live in this house? And you might say, yeah. And I'm like, okay, cool. That changes some of the products I may quote you, because there's products I would quote for an investor that I would really want to quote for a homeowner that lives in his house. Mm-hmm. And then I would say, well, how long do you plan on being there? And that's a question I feel like most roofers don't ask. And then I might get an answer of, oh, we're going to sell next year. So I'm like, okay, so they need a good roof that's going to be good for the market, but they probably don't want to spend more than they have to. Mm-hmm. Or you say, I'm in my forever home. And I go, okay, so you probably never want to replace your roof again, or you want to get as long as you can and you really care about your house. Yeah, that's me. Well, now I have a whole different set of stuff that I would recommend
That's good.
to the homeowner. So instead of building the quote around the roof, now I try to get as much emotional information and life planning information from the customer so I can figure out how to handpick a roof system that fits them the best. And what that does for me is that will mitigate some of the potential for them saying, well, it's just about price. I'm saving the time of me wasting that. Where it's like, well, if you're an investor, I'm just going to quote you something cheap. Or I may ask a couple questions like, hey, so are you looking for absolute cheapest? And they go, oh, well, I want good quality, but I want it cheap. That means they want it cheap. Mm-hmm. I know what I'm quoting. Or someone says, hey, I plan to be here forever. I'm giving a house to my kids. Okay, cool. We'll start here and I'll give them some upgrade options. That way I can sell them and push them into what I think makes most sense for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's cool. Roofs are expensive as shit. Like, do you guys do people finance them through you, or how does that work?
That's an interesting question. It's, and I say it's not really, it's a question that makes sense, but for me, it's interesting because as the years have gone on, I really thought I'd be financing more, but I think every year I only finance like maybe 2 to 3.
Really?
And we might do over 150 roofs. And
people just write checks for 30.
They write checks. Yeah. Write checks, put on credit cards. And, we do offer financing. It's usually through a third party.
Because then they're responsible to collect.
Correct.
Right? Yeah.
Yep.
They pay you.
Yeah, I'm not a bank, and I don't really want to be. Not at the same time as being a roofer. Maybe as a crew. Yeah. Yeah, I don't want a collections team. But yeah, most people pay, cashier's check, personal check, credit card. Every once in a while, you'll get cash. I had a customer offer to pay me cash, said sure, and go to pick up the cash, and she brings me inside, so we count the cash together, and she's like, hey, the only bag I have is this Victoria's Secret bag. And I was like, that'll do. So walk into the bank and I've got this Victoria's Secret bag with like $8,000 and I'm sitting here with the teller trying to count it. And they're like laughing at me, which turned into a funny little story. But yeah, we finance. It's not as common as I thought it would be. And I really thought 2025 would be,
people are financing groceries now.
Well, that's what I thought, right? So based on the state of the economy, I was like, man, eggs are $12 a dozen. There's no way that I'm not going to see more financing this year. Mm-hmm. And I didn't. I think I've had 2 to 3 requests. And one guy was like, I don't need to. I just bought his house Airbnb. If I could stay liquid, I'm staying liquid, because it was an investment. And he got denied because he misspelled his name on accident. Was like, screw it, I'll just pay a check. Mm-hmm. So I thought this year was going to be a lot heavier on the finance side, and it hasn't been. I'm prepared to dive deeper into financing, but as of right now, if it's not broke, don't fix it. And finances hasn't been a large reason me losing the estimates that I've lost.
Yeah, as long as you're not losing them. Yeah. If you're losing them, maybe consider it.
Absolutely.
It's nice to not have to, a lot of our revenue is paid in advance for weddings and birthdays and funerals and whatever. So we get paid 2 weeks prior.
Nice.
And our average ticket's $2,000. So it's nice to be able to collect that up front. And then our hotels, casinos, hospitals, they pay net 30 or whatever, net 45 sometimes. So you're always waiting for those. But yeah, that's good that you don't have to do much collection. So you probably have a lot of, if your margins are 30 to 40, you probably have a lot of like material costs, right? Like, where do you, like Lowe's, Home Depot, stuff like that? Or you have a supplier that...
We got local suppliers. So I'm a loyal guy to a company called SRS Building Supply. They're like one of the major roofing distributors in the country. That's where I purchase all my shingles, all my accessories, all my underlayment, purchase all my concrete and clay tile through them.
Do you have to pay that up front? Or do you just put it like on a bill and once a month they charge you?
You fill out a credit app, and once you get approved, you're on a net 30 or a net 10. So I'm on a net 10 with a discount at times. So we try to keep everything net 30, but it allows you to keep flexible with cash flow, because if you're having to pay cash for all materials up front, it just becomes a financial headache. We honestly don't even take deposits for most residential work, and that's kind of sort of something that my dad passed on to me, where it was kind of a gentleman's thing, like, gentlemen, lick your hand, shake your hand, like, we're going to do business together. And for me, I always felt like, as a customer, it would make me feel better if this company was like, we've got it taken care of. We'll get the material here. Everybody's going to be taken care of, and everybody's going to be paid. We have that reputation now behind us to support that. So to me, it seems more honest as a contractor when I offer that. I don't look down upon deposits. I think that there's a big advantage to them. I think having that cash flow to float other jobs and maybe delaying on paying is great. But for me, it feels good, and I've gotten a lot of good feedback from customers when they say, "Oh wow, like, you don't even want a deposit." And my perspective has always been, if I can't front the $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 material on your job, like, probably shouldn't be in business. And that's kind of been my perspective, and it hasn't failed yet. So
nice,
just kind of keep rolling.
That's a flex to be able to do that. Yeah. People like that. Yeah. With all the material costs and stuff, do you, cause I'm a credit card nerd, like the points and stuff. Is there like a specific card that roofers should have?
I have the Chase Business Inc. And I get 2.5 times points on all purchases over 5,000.
Which you probably have a lot of.
So I run every single month of materials on my card, and I really tie with my supplier, and I buy so much that they waive my credit card fee.
Nice.
So
you get like 6% back,
dude, and it's insane. I think I have like 700,000 points right now, and I got 150,000 pending, and I haven't even paid this month's. And this year it's pretty cool. I went to New York, saw the UFC card with Islam Makhachev. I paid for all the tickets on a StubHub gift card that I got from credit card points. I paid for the hotel on credit card points, paid for the flights on credit card points. We went to the Big Sur in California in April, paid for the whole trip pretty much on credit card points.
Big Sur?
The Big Sur in California. Yeah. Monterey, yeah, Carmel. Paid for that whole trip on points. I went to Vegas in October to watch the Alex Pereira fight. We ended up not going to the event, but paid for the whole thing on points. And I've still got plenty of points. So I basically paid for all my vacations. I sent my foreman and his whole family on a cruise. March, all on points. Nice. Dude, sent my family on a yearly cruise on points. Yeah, so cool. Yeah, I'm kind of a nerd too. I could probably use the points a little bit smarter, but I get so many.
Easy. Yeah. Sometimes it's like, it is a lot. Like when you could fucking maximize it, a million different ways. But if it's easy, the only thing I would say is careful with gift card redemptions. Those are usually pretty shitty, unless you're getting like just straight.
It was like $20,000 points for $200 for StubHub.
That's not that bad then.
No. Yeah. So it was like, I think I got like some crazy tickets to the UFC card for like $2,500. Like,
you just don't want
1,000 points.
You just don't want to be using your points for like Amazon gift card.
No, I don't do that.
Yeah. It's the best way to do it, in my opinion, is to like transfer them out to airlines or the hotels. Yeah.
I haven't started transferring to hotels yet, but I recently did Amex to Delta. And the rewards were way better for flights, and they were so much cheaper.
Nice. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I mean, you're spending the money, like, might as well
get some before.
Yeah. And that's a good way too, like to treat your the people on your team.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, that's awesome. What keeps you motivated in an industry that's physically and mentally demanding all the time?
Yeah, that's huge. It is super demanding. It's, every day I wake up and it's like, all this stuff's got to get done. I know my foreman's got this going, but I got to get the next job prepped, and I got to make sure the permit's pulled and make sure I check out the office, make sure all the paperwork's set up, checking out all these clients. I'm the only guy that sells in our company. So I'm the only sales rep. So I'm working future clients, current clients, making sure production's going well, overseeing that. And then you pair that in with August, and it's, 120 degrees on the roof. As soon as I step outside, I'm just pouring sweat. It's hot. I'm lightheaded. What keeps me going is a lot of it's family. I bought the business from my parents last year in April so that they could officially retire. I've been taking over since like 22 and slowly kind of pushing their responsibilities out. And eventually I was like, hey, I just want sole decision-making capabilities. And also I don't want you guys to even have to worry anymore. And it's not that they worried much, but it was, I didn't even want in the back of their head, like, how's business going? How's this job going? I don't want them thinking about that. I want them to be able to enjoy their time and enjoy their freedom and enjoy some retirement. So now that I have a structured loan as I'm buying this business out, that keeps me motivated to know that they're relying on me. Their bills are relying on my performance. My fiance actually runs my office now. And so when I wake up in the morning, I know that her salary and our livelihood in our home depends on me. And I've got a foreman who's a fantastic employee. Couldn't ask for a better guy. He's got 2 kids and a wife. And, just waking up and knowing that there's, my career as well. It's like knowing there's 15, there's 15 people that I pay that rely on me, and all the families that are connected to that keeps me going. And it's like, days that I don't want to get up and do it, I know that there's guys on the roof probably on their way to the roof as I'm waking up. And it's like, damn, they've been up since 5 o'clock picking up the other guys. Like, they're on the way. And it's like, who would I be if I didn't go to work today? And also too, I think, I kind of have like a big goal mindset where it's like, one day I want, the financial freedom of owning a business and having the systems in place where, maybe I'm 40 years old and I'm not involved as much, and the thing is spinning based on what I did, and that legacy of knowing that I created this thing that operates without me now, and we're doing it at a high standard that I think is better than our competitors. And I truly mean that. And it's like, when I can look at that, like, just that emotion, I don't think you could replace that with knowing that people are taken care of, doing good shit and doing it better than others. And then also the financial fruits that come with that.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's really good. What's it sounds like what would you say your best skill is? Sales, like actually fixing the roofs, doing the paperwork?
Probably, it's funny, I want to say sales because I feel like I'm just good with people, but client relationships are great. I'm just like an honest guy, and I'm like just kind of shoot a straight with people. Like, when I go to an estimate, I'm never pushing for a signed contract on the spot. I probably should. I've definitely lost jobs where I lost it to a high pressure sales company, but I don't want to do that. So for me, what I know is my customers trust me, my supplier trusts me, and my crew trusts me. So that tells me that that's a trend. So I'm trustworthy. My clients are happy. They always tell me that, your estimate was very professional. Your vibe was professional. Like, I just felt confident in whatever you were telling me. So I'm really good with people. And I think I'm a good communicator. I think that's my best skill probably. And I think that that's brought me a lot of success in this industry because it's an industry that is typically low communication. I feel like a lot of contractors have low communication skills, and it's no hate on them, but it's because they had an origin in swinging the hammer and growing it, which is great. And that's just something to be extremely proud of. But mine was more so as learning a little bit in the field, doing some hands-on at a young age, but then learning the top side of it and figuring out how to tell that story. And that's something I'm still refining today, is how do I present what I'm selling to you in an hour or less to make you realize that I'm the one? Because there's only so much I can put on this paper before it goes in one ear and out the other. And there's only so much I can say to you without also then potentially being disrespectful to someone else's company. Because Rolls-Royce doesn't talk shit about Hyundai, and I don't want to either. But I shouldn't have to if I can tell my story the right way and I can present this information in the proper way. So I would say communication is probably my best attribute.
Nice. Yeah, I asked that because I was wondering, like, as you grow, like what, because you can't do like everything. So I was asking that to see what role that you would want to stay fully involved in, and then what roles you would want to fill in.
I think for me, I'd like to keep selling, and then eventually I'd like to push all production outside. And I'm a bit of a control freak, but I have my foreman, his name's John.
You would need like a quality control person, like.
And I kind of have one, but I kind of need to clone him if I wanted to do
Mhm.
more production. Because right now we split roles, like I said. So
They're out there, yeah.
they are, and I found one on accident. And dude, he was a roofer for 24 years, so he was the one banging a hammer, installing shingles. He's got commercial metal roofing experience. He could flash a basketball and make it waterproof if you asked him to. I mean, he's just phenomenal. And now he's my quality control project manager. So, you know, he's on the job site with the guys, but he's the only guy that I've seen in this industry locally where he's teaching the crew stuff. And the guys are like, what? Like, how do you know this? And then he'll take a shingle gun and burn up, 100 square feet of shingles faster than they can. And they're like, we've never seen a project manager that actually roofs. It's usually some young guy that learns a little bit and makes sure that they're not throwing bundles of shingles away. And he runs the Home Depot for stuff. So, if I could find another John or someone even 70% of that, it could get me out of the field running trailers and managing jobs. But sometimes I get a little torn on that because I do feel like the presence means something. And I feel like we've definitely won jobs from neighbors because I was there.
Yeah.
But I think futuristically, the idea would be keep me selling because I'm really good at it. And if I had less field responsibilities, then I would be able to sell more. But that kind of ties right into the great problem of roofing of the biggest thing is opportunity. Like the hardest part about roofing is finding the next job. Because if you've got a 4-bedroom, 3-bedroom house, let's say it's 2,500 square feet, your roof's probably closer to 4,000 square feet. We can do that roof in a day. So that means I need 3 of those a week at least to keep my guys busy or to keep flow. So it's like, well, that means I need to book out, pretty far because it might take 30 days to close a sale because we're also talking about high ticket sales. So when you go buy a baseball hat that's 30, 40, 50 bucks, it doesn't take long to figure out if you're going to do it because it's 30, 40, 50 bucks. If you're worried about 30, 40, 50 bucks, you don't need a hat anyways. But these people are making decisions on 10, 20, 30, up to $125,000 for their personal roof. And it's like, they may need to sleep on that. They need to talk to their accountant, their financial advisor. They need to pull money out of the stock market, pull money out of retirement, pull a loan, open a HELOC. That stuff takes time. So while I'm waiting on this 30-day turnaround for this person to sign contract, pull permit, get materials delivered, well, I better have like 15 roofs lined up. And that's the hardest part in roofing is finding enough people to get the opportunities to provide the estimates to land the job. The production isn't that hard once you nail that part of it. It's keeping the work flowing.
Yeah. It's interesting to learn about different industries. Yeah. And do you guys advertise at all? Is it all word of mouth or?
We do advertise. We've got some Google PPC campaigns. We've got a Facebook campaign going now, but Facebook's usually kind of hit or miss on quality of leads. Our biggest pusher is referral, and our biggest pusher is referral and neighbors. I typically tell a lot of people that, when I run these Google campaigns, I might get 2 or 3 jobs a month out of it, but my goal isn't to get 20. It's to get those 2 or 3 and turn those 2 or 3 into 6 or 9. So we do some pretty different things, I think, than a lot of other contractors where, when we start the job, either myself and my foreman goes out there and around 9:00 in the morning, we go, if this is the house we're doing, there's like a U of neighbors. You got the 2 that are here, the 2 that are here and one across the street. I go to each door and I knock on it and I give them a flyer. But all the flyer says is, if there's any trash in your yard, call me. If we're loud beyond expectation, call me. If there's trucks in your way, call me. If you get a nail in your tire, call me.
They're expecting like a sales sheet.
Exactly. And I tell them that I'm not here to sell anything. I'm here to let you know that we know we're a nuisance. I know this is loud and annoying. For that, I apologize. But if you have any issues, my cell phone number's right there. Call me and we'll take care of it. The amount of times I get people to say, oh my God, I just had my roof replaced last month and they didn't do that. Oh my goodness, I wish everybody else would do that. Oh my goodness, you're so kind. I probably landed 10 jobs from doing that, and there's not a sales pitch involved at all. So that I want the Google leads to give me in a neighborhood so that I can do that. That's what gets me more work. I plan to do some more things kind of like that. Like another thing we do is when we're done, I send those same people like a $10 Starbucks gift card that says thanks for your patience. I'm like, yeah, it cost me $50, but if my margins are gross 40%, I can afford $50 to get me potentially 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more roofs. And it's not even about getting those roofs. It's about making a good impact on them so that they tell their friends about us. I've had people say, someone replaced my roof last month And based on what I saw my neighbor go through and what I saw in your flyer and the gift card, I'm going to be recommending you.
Mm-hmm.
So I've earned the trust over someone that wasn't even my client just by touch reaching out to him and saying like, hey, this is who we are and what we do.
Yeah, that's great. You should get some of those meta glasses and like when you're on the roof, like I feel like that'd be good content.
That is good content. I didn't think about that. That's what I want to push more.
Some videos and stuff. Yeah, like start to finish, or just kind of like or a day in the life, stuff like that. I feel like a lot of people would enjoy that.
I think you're right. I've been slacking on social media, and that's something that I wanted to do in 25 and got tied up in life and business. And 2026, my goals are to like network more and to get more on social media, just because I know it's inevitable. And I think that's a great idea. I never even thought about the meta glasses.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's you just put them on your face and you click a button and do whatever you're doing. Yeah, it's easy. What advice would you give someone who wants to start a roofing business?
No, I'm just kidding. No, roofing business, honestly, man, I think it's a great business. I love the roofing industry. I love the roofing business because in residential, there's not much other construction that you can do where you can get in and out as fast as you can at roofing while also selling high ticket. Mm-hmm. So, for example, if you're doing flooring, you might be able to lay 2,000 square feet of flooring in a day, but the amount of prep that it takes, moving people's furniture, having their furniture moved, covering stuff up, the liabilities of breaking stuff, it's going to take you a couple of days. We could do 3 2,000 square foot roofs in one day. Mm-hmm. And so the speed capabilities, you're outside, you have the space to be a little bit messier. And when I say messy, like we clean up at the end of the day, but if you're tearing up floor in the house, you can't just sling stuff around. But if I'm on someone's roof and I have a 16-foot long dump trailer, I can just throw stuff and just move a lot faster. So the speed of roofing is extremely attractive. For advice, I would say build a super great relationship with your distributor. The prices are going to be similar regardless of which company you go with, but the amount of benefit that you can get from building a relationship and having those people really care about you is really, it's a bottomless value. It's a ceilingless value because, my supplier likes me so much because we have a great relationship. I always purchase from them. We, grab lunch together. I bring them coffee or donuts sometimes, and we check on each other's families. And it's like, hey man, I got a last minute delivery. Can you squeeze it in? They're more likely to push somebody out of the way just to make an order happen for me. And that saves relationship with me with customers. So building a good supplier, starting out with great systems and having designated roles for you or whoever else is involved is going to save a lot of headache down the road. We've grown 6 times in size. And as that, my parents are out of it. They've never even seen the amount of work that we're doing now. And for me trying to input those systems while also managing all that work, it feels like an impossible task at times. And that would have saved me a ton of headache if I would have had the freedom and decision-making power to do that early. And another one would just be, do a good job and it will come. Just like what they said about Rome. It's like, if we build it, they will come. It's, don't expect to take off and do, $1 million worth of sales in the first year. But if you do a good job, the more work's going to come because there's plenty of people out there doing bad work and pissing homeowners off that there's still room for successful companies to exist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good stuff. Couple rapid fire questions for you. What's the best type of roof material in Florida?
Quick off the cusp, I want to go with standing seam metal.
Okay. Are you afraid of heights?
Yes.
What's the tallest you've ever had to climb?
One that got me a little puckered up. I was on a 46-foot ladder going up to a 4-story tile roof to make a little repair on Volano, so the wind's blowing.
Oh, shit.
And I'm going up the ladder and I look down because my dad's holding it and I see him checking his phone. I'm like, dude, I'm terrified right now.
Because even if they're holding it, the wind could
catch it. Yeah, I'm not extremely terrified of heights, but 3 stories start to get a little nervous. If it's steep, start to get a little nervous. But it's to the point now where it's more so of the confidence course in the Marine Corps where you're kind of scared, but you just have to do it. So you just have to do it. You just got to go. So 46 feet going up on the 4-story was pretty scary.
Yeah, I'd be scared too. Is it roof or roof?
Roof if you're from down south, rough if you're from Michigan or up north.
Okay. And what's the most expensive roof job you've ever completed?
Most expensive roof job I've ever completed was just shy of $400,000.
Damn.
Yep.
Was that a house or
Like
like
a commercial job. It was a church off of US 1. We did a full metal roof on it. Turned out sweet. And then the most expensive residential job we've done was $125,000.
nice? How long did the 400K one take?
24 days.
20. So yeah, it was
Yeah.
the whole month. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. If how can people get in touch with you if they want to learn more or hire or get an estimate? Or...
Yeah, if you want to learn more about Hester's Roofing, go to hestersroofing.com. You can look us up on Facebook, Hester's Roofing. Instagram, I think it's Hester's Roofing as well, or call me on my cell phone, 904-484-4324.
Nice, guys. Well, I hope you learned a lot about the roofing industry. It's a great. I wouldn't want to climb 46 feet, but maybe you change your mind for 400K. I don't know. And, this guy's great, so check him out. Will Hester. Thanks. Get after it. See ya. That's good stuff.
Damn, that's sweet.